It's so fun to hear you just get enthusiastic about working with your heroes. I do want to ask you about some other interesting stories that you gave me some notes on. And I'll be honest, I have bullet points, but I don't know where it goes. Is there a divorce story?
Oh yeah, Bobby Duncombe. Bobby Duncombe. This is a great story. So Bobby's the nicest guy in the world. You know, I did Bobby's eulogy. Bobby and I were really close friends. We're roommates and tag team partners. And as I told you, Bobby and I would have made it pretty big, but his dad wanted him to play football. So Bobby went back and played football. And then he got hurt his shoulder. He had a bunch of surgeries. Got addicted to pain pills. You know, and unfortunately, that was part of Bobby's demise. But Bobby and I were really good friends. Well, back in the day, two things. Used to get cards from the mafia. Now, this was awesome because back before, nobody's going to use a cell phone in Japan. Plus, I don't think we even had any cell phones back then. But you would get cards from the mafia that were like this thick, all these cards. They had these gimmick cards where they put a tape over where they punch the hole in it where the card would run out. So you could use these cards for unlimited calls on the telephone. So when you went to Japan, I would save all my calls for going to Japan because I go to the payphone. I would just sit there all day and just call people from Japan. I say, I'm in Japan, impress people, but I get to call people all the time, free calls from the mafia phone cards. That was one of their gimmicks they would sell to people. But if you called from the hotel, a lot of times, for one, it was massively expensive. You had an echo. So Bobby always answers the phone the same way. Hey, I don't know. What is hey? I have no idea what you're talking about. Bobby calls his wife and he goes, hey. Well, he hears the echo. Hey. Now Bobby starts getting mad. He goes, who's this? Who is this? Bobby goes, the fuck you doing? What the fuck you doing? So now Bobby's talking to himself.
Oh my!
Bobby's had a little bit to drink. Bobby's hearing the echo. His wife is trying to explain it to him. He thinks his wife's in the background. He tells her he's going to file for divorce and hangs up on her.
What a fucking great story.
Yeah, I asked his wife about it. She told me the story. She goes, it was the craziest thing hearing Bobby talk to himself.
Oh, wow.
The next morning, some of the guys go, Bobby, that was probably an echo. Bobby goes, oh, I didn't think about that. He'd been drinking, so
getting yourself hot, that's the ultimate rib.
Yeah, he's actually going to file for divorce over an echo.
Because his wife was cheating on him with himself.
That's right. His wife was cheating on him with himself.
You ever hear of anybody falling asleep in the middle of a match?
Oh, my God. Mr. Ueda did down in Kumamoto. Yes. So Mr. Ueda was the nicest guy. He was this old Japanese heel, and he had a blonde hair as a Japanese heel. Man, he got tons of heat. He and Tiger were tag team partners, and they were a great, great tag team. They got tons of heat. Well, down in Kumamoto, Mr. Ueda had a lot of friends, you might say. And, he's tied in deep with the mafia. So we had a couple bars, a couple different things. And so we went down there, and Ueda has got to be a sponsor for this entire time we're down there. He literally has not been to bed in a couple days. Literally has not been to bed. I mean, this is a tough old man. And so we're in a 6-man tag. Ueda takes a bump. James Beard's the referee. I said, is Ueda okay? And he goes out there. Ueda was snoring. He had finally fallen asleep. He took a bump and fell asleep during the middle of the match. Crowd's going crazy. Ueda is sound asleep on the floor outside. Sound freaking asleep. Not only did Ueda wake up, but he did the finish. True story. Ueda went down. James went and woke him up and goes, Mr. Ueda, do you want to do the finish? Oh, okay. He wakes up from a deep slumber, gets up and realizes he's in a wrestling match and does the finish.
My God. I love professional wrestling.
Ueda was an awesome guy. I mean, he was a mean old heel, but just the nicest freaking man. He always took care of us. Didn't speak great English, just always took care of us.
When you're in Japan, I know that, you work there in 97, you finally make it to All Japan. I know what high regard you hold that promotion and the talent that's come through its doors. Did you meet Baba?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Met Baba. He was a super, super nice. I like Baba very much. And he was very nice to me in Wyndham. But we had the strangest freaking meeting with him. So Baba calls us in to meet with him. Now, Baba speaks English. Briscoe's told me this. He's done the same thing with him. And he knows the Briscoe brothers since the 70s. So we go in to meet with Baba, and me and Wyndham, we're trying to get jobs is what we're trying to do. My contract was coming up, but by the time I got back to the United States after this tour, my contract was up in a week or two. I needed a job. I wanted to stay in Japan is what I wanted to do. Wyndham did too. So we were going to stay in Japan. Well, anyway, we're not giving guys very much. So Baba calls us in. He goes, hey, Johnny Laurinaitis was sitting there and with Baba. Baba's sitting in a chair. Laurinaitis is standing right next to him. Laurinaitis says, hey, Mr. Baba wants to talk to you guys. It's okay. So we go in there. So Baba tells Johnny, I need these guys to sell more. He tells him like that in perfect English. Johnny turns to me and says, Mr. Baba says that he wants you guys to sell more.
Oh, my.
And I'm sitting there looking at him going, is this a rib? I mean, literally, Baba is speaking perfectly English to Johnny. Johnny's then telling us. So I said, well, what are you talking about? Johnny turns back to Mr. Baba. He goes, they want to know what you're talking about. He's right freaking there. He understands everything we're saying. So we had this whole meeting like this. Wyndham gets so mad he almost walks out. I mean, Wyndham was, Barry's a stand-up dude, man. He wasn't putting up with this shit. But it was insane. It was so stupid. It was just stupid to do this. So Baba would tell Johnny something. Johnny would tell us. And at this point, we're just answering, giving smart-ass answers. We're just, we don't care anymore. It was ridiculous. But, yeah, that was some kind of stupid formality that I have no idea what that was. It was idiotic.
You got any other fun Johnny Ace stories? Johnny Ace in Japan stories?
Oh, yeah. Johnny got in a fight with a group of guys one time, a bunch of thugs. They had little gangs over there or something like that. Well, Johnny gets hit in the leg, I think, with a 9-iron. And literally, he had the 9-iron imprint on his leg. So they were talking, ever since then, they would talk about Johnny's 9-iron. But literally, he had a 9-iron imprint on his leg from the fight.
My God.
And the thing about it is, I don't know who brings a 9-iron to a fight. I don't know why you bring
the same thing. Like, was this?
I don't know why you don't bring a 7-iron. I don't know why you bring a 6-iron. I don't know why you bring a 9-iron.
How about a driver?
I would think that would be better.
Yes, you would.
But Johnny got hit with a 9-iron or something, whatever it was. But it left the 9 on his thigh when they hit him.
Tell me about these different travels that you have. I'm sure at some point you found yourself in a European hostel. What was that like? Yeah,
we were in hostels when I first got over there in Vienna and Graz. Graz was first. And so the hostel the bathroom was down the hall. So we first got there. I believe it was Tony St. Clair. And Tony's a ribber, but this was not a rib, I don't think. So Tony tells us, hey, just to let you guys know there's a charge for the shower. Okay, no big deal. So none of the guys are showering because, we're trying to save our money. We're not making much money. We got to pay for the hostel. We're not making a ton of money, but we're doing okay. I mean, the money's decent. But guys are showering at the arena. Guys are showering at the gym. So Otto started liking me, and he took me down to former Yugoslavia near Croatia because he wanted to run a spot show down there. And I was kind of like, the dog and pony show with him, the talent with him. So anyway, after that, Otto, by the way, is so big in Austria, he forgot his passport. He called the border and goes, hey, this is Otto Vance. I forgot my passport. Just let you know I'm coming through. They just waved him through. Otto was that big of a name down there. Goes into former Yugoslavia. We go down there, work around the arrangements for the spot show that never happened. Anyway, we come back. About a week later, Otto invites me to go down to some sponsor event. Otto used to break phone books in half. He'd get these phone books like this. They said he held a world record. I guess he did. But he'd get a phone book and he'd just break it and just rip it in half. He had the strongest hands you've ever seen, like Mark Henry. He'd rip these huge phone books in half, one after another. So he's doing that at this event. Everybody's marveling at this event. So they've got this plum schnapps that's terrible, and I don't like it. So I'm doing the over-the-shoulder gimmick. So I'm pretty sober by the end of the night. I'm one of the few guys that is. So when we're done, the guy said, hey, thank you very much for coming. He gives me this bottle of plum schnapps that's apparently very expensive. So when I get back, I don't want to drink it. It's like rocket fuel. There was a guy at the front desk that used to watch the World Cup soccer every night at the hostel. So I walk in. I said, hey, do you like this plum schnapps? And apparently it was very expensive. He goes, oh, my God, yeah. And he said it in German, not English. He didn't speak English. So I gave it to him. So then he invited me to watch the soccer games with him. So every night I come in and watch the soccer games with him. He'd teach me German. So finally I said, hey, how much is the shower? And he tells me, shower doesn't cost anything. I said, really? And he goes, no. I said, please don't tell anybody. So anyway, now I start showering every day in the middle of the day, right when everybody can see me. I'm thinking like long showers. Guys are going like, John, how much is this costing you? I go, don't care. Got money. I got plenty of money. Don't care. Taking showers. So the guys finally, one of them wants to take a shower. He goes to the guy and they come to me and tell me, say, hey, that guy doesn't know you have to pay. I said, really? He said, no. So the guy comes on at midnight. So the guys would come back after the show. Then they'd line up at midnight when this guy would come on because they think now they're getting a free shower. So I'm pulling this rib like for 4 weeks on these guys. So I don't have anybody to tell. So finally I pull Finley aside because he seemed like just like a regular dude. I said, can I tell you something that I'm doing? And he goes, yeah. I said, I'm pulling a rib on these guys. And he goes, oh my God, that is awesome. He goes, that's awesome because that's the best rib I've ever heard. I said, well, I've been doing it like for 2 or 3 weeks. They're lining up at midnight to get showers. And he goes, that's great. So then he has Otto come in at the end of the tour and he goes, hello, John, listen, you've got showers. How many did you have? I said, I don't know, Otto. I showered every day, sometimes twice a day. He goes, okay, like 20, something like that. I said, okay. So then he goes to the other guys and starts marking them down for showers. Otto's in on the rib. He goes, okay, you owe me this. It was like a fortune. The guy's like, man, this is bullshit. We're quitting. We're going home. So anyway, Otto lets this go for like 3 or 4 days. So then Otto comes in. He goes, gentlemen, I have talked to the hotel manager. I've decided I'm just going to take care of the showers myself. Don't worry about it. Thank you very much for coming. Otto's the greatest guy. I've never told him anything different.
God.